Hello friends, I'm Manoj K and welcome at GSS Score. See, you all are writing main examination and that too Odisha PCS for the first time because in the new format, Odisha is going to take its PCS examination for the first time. So we are going to start a series. This series is all about covering most of the key aspects related to the mains demand. Now what we are going to do in today's session specifically is to discuss about mains and in the shortest possible time how you need to remain specific and relevant. As you are going to write main examination is all about expression and expression is output. That's it. It's very simple. It's output. So you are going to be judged on the basis of output. And this output cannot be vague. So what we are going to discuss here is all about how to remain relevant in your answer writing. Why this, you can say, you need to understand what is meant by relevant and specific here. Because when we say main examination, or for that matter, whether it is OPSC or UPSC, whatever it is, the real competition is not among the crowd. The real competition is among the competent candidates, and competent candidates are at par when it comes to information, knowledge, etc. They take edge only in terms of clarity, expression, completion of paper, etc. So this is where you should focus. And in UPSC also, you will understand that students are talking about this combination, that combination, ethics, essay, XYZ. Let's not talk about that. Though UPSC is your reference as long as at least 2 to 3 years examination is done and you have at least 2 to 3 years paper related to Odisha PCS. So here there are two reference points that you can refer. One is UPSC and another is Uttar Pradesh PCS, because Uttar Pradesh PCS is also on the similar line itself, and there also you can take some clue since you are writing for the first time. So you may be facing the dilemma, lot of questions you may be facing right now. No issue for that, it happens, but there is a solution also. So real competition is among the competent candidates, and this real competition is all about 1.5 marks in every question. Every single question you gain or you lose. You gain or you lose. That's it. This is what main examination is all about. Don't think optional XYZ. No. Fight among the competent candidates are so close that every single mark you used to decide. Because if you look at the aggregate of this difference, it will come around 30, 40, 50 marks. This is what the main examination is all about. Doesn't matter it is UPSC or XYZ. Doesn't matter. Fine. So let's come to the mains. Fine. Here in main examination is all about spontaneity. Spontaneity. In the sense, you have to write for paper 1, 2, 3, 4 optional essay. So approximately 20 hours you write. But to write, you need very high recall. To have very high recall, your retention must be very high. And to have very good retention, you must organize your information very well. This is what the relation is, and then only you achieve a spontaneity and you complete your paper. Complete your paper. You cannot complete your paper only by writing more. No, not at all. Don't be a misnomer. The reason is, if your retention is not good, then your recall cannot be good. And if your recall cannot be good, you cannot sustain your quality of answer. So what to do? How to do? What are the tools? What is the method that you should adopt when the time is very less, and that too when you people are writing mains for the first time? So these are certain things you need to know. For example, when we say organize, you can organize yourself only through notes. These notes cannot be the notes where generally you make. What you do in notes? You create book out of book. You create book out of book. You cannot do it, because if you do like this, then you cannot retain. Retention will become a very, very big problem. So ideally your notes should be a very, very brief handout sort of thing, very, very brief, where in one page you are capturing one issue. It's very simple. In one page you are capturing one issue. That's it, nothing else. Beyond that you cannot retain. And more important, when you are going for the revision, take a white sheet at the right hand side and you just capture the things, the keywords. It has to be in your language. You can reproduce, you can retain only the things which you have captured in your own language. If you are going through some coaching material or XYZ, you cannot retain, because that much you don't have time. That time you don't have. And so this is how you need to do your revision. तुम जब अपना रिवीजन करोगे तो रिवीजन के साथ ही एक ब्रीफ नोट बनाते चलो, नोट लेते चलो. आई एम नॉट कॉलिंग नोट्स, रेदर नोट लेते चलो. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. और वो एग्जामिनेशन से 5 दिन 7 दिन पहले उसको रिवाइज करो. 1 2 3 4 5. इट विल बिकम सो स्लिक कि तुम उसको 10 बार रिवाइज कर सकते हो. We are going to touch almost all the areas of the examination, whether it is ethics, essay, but today we are going to discuss only about the expression. Expression is output. So we'll discuss. Then you have, you can say we are doing this live session. You can ask as many questions as you have. We'll answer it so that it make more sense of making an interactive session. So let's begin with the main examination. It's demand, key demand. Fine. See, when we say answer writing, if you talk to the peer group, there are a lot of suggestions. Often you see UPSC's toppers copies, because that gives you a reference point. That's okay. But that never works in the examination hall. In the examination hall works what you are and the way you have evolved. It's very simple. It's very simple. And so in answer writing, or whatever you do from here till the examination, you have to simply measure your outcome. You have to simply measure your gaps. You have to simply measure the areas where you need to work. You cannot do anything which is general in nature. You have to make everything very, very specific. In that line only, let's take the example of answers. So when we say answer, any good answer has 4 components. One is one is clarity. Another is relevance. Third is depth, and fourth is structure. These are the 4 things around which your answer revolves. These are the 4 components around which you have to practice. Because you join test series, you are writing a lot, but the question is, you are writing for what? If you are practicing for what? तुम प्रैक्टिस कर क्यों रहे हो? किस चीज़ के लिए? सिर्फ इसलिए कि तुम्हें 50 क्वेश्चन, 200 क्वेश्चन, 500 क्वेश्चन बनाने हैं, या एक स्पेसिफिक टारगेट है? नाउ यू कैन आंसर कि टारगेट है मार्क्स. यस, ऑफ कोर्स यस, मार्क्स तुम्हें आएंगे इसी बेसिस पे व्हेन योर आंसर इज स्पेसिफिक. You will take edge over the others only when your answers are relevant. And this is what precisely we are going to discuss. So these are the four aspects of answers, or any answer for that matter, whether it is paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, or optional. We'll take essay separately. So clarity simply means that you have question. Now the first problem that I have witnessed among the students, that they used to develop a fixed kind of template. whether it is for geography or polity, they simply fix the framework 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, it will not work. Why? Because every question is different and every question's demand is different, specific. You cannot make it general, and it cannot be general, very simple. It cannot be general. Why? Because if you look at the questions, there are 3 components. By combining these 3 components, UPSC or OPSC or for that matter any other examination frame questions. What are these 3 components? Concept, context, and directive words. Directive words are those words you also call it instruction by the UPSC. Illustrate, examine, critically analyze, etc. So what I'm trying to say, clarity, when you are writing your answer, you go for self-assessment as well. And you see just one thing, that whatever you are writing, are you able to understand the demand of the question or not? The reason is, whatever I have limited experience, I have while correcting the copies, interacting with the students, those who are writing main examination, I have seen that mostly used to frame their answers in and around the keywords. That you cannot do it. Keywords are simply some context or concept embedded in the question. You have to address what is the holistic demand of the question, that's it. So first thing first, you assess yourself that whatever type of questions you are able to meet or understand the demand of the question, be it conceptual question, be it context, be it open-ended, be it critical thinking, whatever it is. Number 1. I will explain it through certain questions also. But first let me give a brief sketch and then we'll take certain questions. Then once you get the questions, then the next task, you have to get the dimensions, the various aspects and examples to explain, analyze the demand of the question, and so we call it relevance. Your relevance of the answer is going to be decided only on the basis of the dimension that you pick, the aspect that you pick. Here, if you are multidimensional, where you have developed, you can say, a critical thinking or you can say you have an approach of thinking during your self-study, it will help you to get more and more relevant dimension. Otherwise, in examination hall, you cannot think. So once you get the dimension, then the next aspect is depth. Depth simply means analysis. And here, competent candidates gets the edge. जिसे तुम competent candidate कहते हो, वो ज़्यादातर edge यही लेता है. अगर किसी का interpretation ही गलत हो गया क्वेश्चन का, तो फिर कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते हैं. Otherwise, वो edge यही लेगा, depth में. Fine. And then comes the structure. A structure means 2 things. Number 1, sequencing of the point. तुम्हारे पास 4 पॉइंट है, 5 पॉइंट है, 6 पॉइंट है, जितने भी पॉइंट्स हैं, उसकी सीक्वेंसिंग और उस सीक्वेंस के बीच में लॉजिकल कोरिलेशन. फाइन. So these are the 4 components around which you have to measure. So I started with one thing, that how do you measure your outcome? How do you measure or how do you identify your gaps? तुम्हें अभी प्रैक्टिस करते समय ये आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा कि तुम कहाँ पे मिस कर रहे हो, यहाँ पे, यहाँ पे, यहाँ पे, यहाँ पे. The reason is, suppose if a candidate is committing mistake here, she should write on daily basis, massive, क्योंकि ये स्ट्रक्चरिंग का इशू है. But suppose if a candidate is missing here, then he should give more time in reflection, thinking. और जब वो अपनी रिवीजन करेगा या पढ़ाई कर रहा होगा, उस समय उसकी थिंकिंग ज़्यादा काम करेगी इस प्रॉब्लम को एड्रेस करने में, rather than डेली. तुम डेली लिख के भी कुछ नहीं कर सकते. That's why I'm saying you will have to measure where you are. तुम यहाँ हो, यहाँ हो, यहाँ हो, यहाँ हो, कहाँ हो? Where you are. You will have to measure. You have to identify the gaps. You will have to identify where you need to work immediately to improve your outcome. Merely by writing more and more questions will not serve the purpose. चाहे तुम डेली 5 क्वेश्चन लिखो, 10 क्वेश्चन लिखो, doesn't matter. You are not alone. You are doing so. Fine. So this is one. Now let's apply this with certain questions. इसको कुछ questions को लेके हम सभी चीज़ों को apply करके देखते हैं. Fine. So the first thing first is clarity. Clarity sim, you are clear about the demand of question. You are clear about the demand of the question. Fine. Let's take the question number 1. Fine. So it says, is conscious capitalism the answer to corporate sustainability? Fine. There is a reason to frame questions. Fine. Especially after the subprime crisis, there were concerns raised about the way businesses are done across the world. Number 1. Number 2, after COVID also, it has been realized that somewhere this business failed to serve its social and other obligations. Good, bad, right, wrong, that we will explore it. So my point is basically here, if you look at this question, once you read the question, you should understand what is the demand. Now you may write about capitalism. It's very easy to write about corporate sustainability, but this is not the question is. It's very simple is, either you start with this concept, you understand, or you have to identify that what is the problem and what is the solution this question provides or demands. Either of the two. Now if you commit mistake here at this point, you are gone. You are gone. Fine. इसकी पूरी structuring भी हम discuss करेंगे. Let me explain one by one and then we'll go further. Fine. Number 2 is relevance. Number 2 is relevance. Relevance simply means dimensions and examples, because this is what makes your body part of your answer. Yeah. So here when we say dimensions etc, is the conscious capitalism answer to corporate sustainability? Now what are the dimensions that you should consider? Number 1, about the corporate sustainability and the recent problem. Number 1. Number 2, its corporates obligations other than business. Fine. These are the 2 aspects. Then third aspect comes that when we are talking about conscious capitalism and all, right, what is the scope of implementation? So this is what are the 3-4 dimension etc around which your answer is going to be. So whenever you write answers or whenever you are practicing, you will have to understand that where you are lacking, where you need to work. Fine. Number 2. Number 3, depth. Again I am saying you, depth is something where mostly good candidates used to take edge over the others. It's competitive examination. Some other or will take edge. And here it's analysis part. Here simply means you give depth to your explanation, your understanding, application of the concepts, etc. Now if you look at this question, where do you find the depth? Depth you can give only by critically analyzing that how to implement this. How to implement this? Because it's very subjective. If not subjective, then it's very important to understand that if any business prioritize social, environmental obligation over the profit, can they survive? Can business houses afford this? What are the risks? What are the challenges, etc. Now when you raise questions, when you start examining the ground realities, etc., actually you are giving depth. When you are applying the concept idea in a particular context, you are giving depth to your answer. And again I am saying this is where students used to take edge over the others. एक स्टूडेंट edge वही लेता है, और ये डिपेंड करता है आपकी सेल्फ स्टडी पे. अगर आपकी सेल्फ स्टडी थोड़ी बेहतर है, जहाँ पे आपने थिंकिंग को काफ़ी स्पेस दिया है, देन ओनली यू कैन ब्रिंग डेप्थ इन योर आंसर्स. यू कैन नॉट गिव डेप्थ मेरली बाय राइटिंग डेली. डेली आप जितना क्वेश्चन लिखना चाहे लिख लें, उससे बहुत कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. इफ़ यू could improve the way you revise, the way you think, the way you reflect upon certain concepts, ideas, probably it will help you to write better answer. So this is, and the last is structure. Now mostly if you look at the way you practice, you live or die for a structure presentation. But one thing you will have to educate yourself for, that what comes before how. What comes before how. So first 3 points always will help you to take edge over the others. I am not saying that structure is not important, but don't unnecessarily spoil or kill your time here. It's very important. But what comes before how? Before how. So here if you have to structure, first you will go for intro. Fine. Now you have two ways to start. It is a conceptual question, and this concept is an application to solve certain problem. So here you can start in two ways. Either you can discuss the conscious capitalism, that it is all about a sustainable business practices. That's it. Intro in any case has to be short. Short. Fine. Number one. Number two, then you will go to the body part. There you will discuss about the ill effects or the recent problems related to capitalism. Fine. Because you have to understand the relation between economics and society. You have to understand relation between economy and society. What is the ideal situation? The ideal situation is that economy is subordinate to society. Economy is subordinate to society because this is what the economy is, to provide the opportunity, growth, etc. But in practice, what is the case? The case is just opposite. Society is subordinate to economy. And so what happens, then somewhere the business houses or capitalists forget their social, environment, their stakeholders, not shareholder, stakeholders, responsibility, obligations, etc. Why corporate? Now, because in good governance, corporations used to play a very, very important role. It's no more only government responsibility. And so you will write about these things, and then I will write about the limitations of the whole idea, and then I will write conclusion. Now, as far as the structure is concerned, here what you have to do, you need to understand one thing, that a flow is important, not the presentation. Flow. After reading introduction, the next point, making point, or is there any connection? Then is there any connection? Is there any connection? Is there any connection? And so what you have to improve for, because you have a good time now. तुम्हारे एग्जाम कोई अभी 20 दिन के अंदर तो है नहीं, तुम्हारे पास अभी भी सफिशिएंट टाइम है जहाँ इम्प्रूव कर सकते हो. वो है लॉजिकल कोरिलेशन. जब आप यहाँ से यहाँ मूव करते हैं, यहाँ से यहाँ मूव करते हैं, तो लॉजिकल कोरिलेशन है या नहीं है. Again and again, what I am repeating, that the real competition is among the competent candidates. सभी रेस में नहीं है. And it does not mean I am hurting you. you also know it. But the question is how to take edge over the others. You can take edge over the others only when you are very specific, your answers are relevant, and this is what you have to practice for. This is what this session is all about. Fine. Now, what to do for this? What to do for this? Fine. You have 4 papers, optional, essay, etc. Fine. Take paper 1, 2, 3 and give more time to it. More time to it, including option, because these papers are time consuming. Ethics and essay is not time consuming. It's slow. You will have to also understand the nature of the paper for which we are practicing. जो स्टडी तुम ऑप्शन के लिए लगाओगे, सेम स्टडी ऐसे में वर्क नहीं करेगा. मैं ऐसे के सेशन ले रहा हूँ, सेपरेटली लूँगा, उसमें देख लेंगे जो भी तुम्हारी क्वेरीज है. यू कैन नाउ स्टार्ट पुटिंग योर क्वेरीज इन द चैट बॉक्स. जितनी क्वेरी है डालते जाओ, देन ओनली दिस द इंटायर सीरीज विल मेक सेंस. तभी उसका कोई सेंस बनता भी है. तो इंट्रैक्शन है, फाइन. वी आर देयर इन भुवनेश्वर, फाइन. डू राइट, फाइन. कनेक्ट विथ अस. मेंटरशिप है, सभी लोग अवेलेबल है. बट एनीवे, लेट्स कम टू द पॉइंट. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से हियर, जो टाइम कंज्यूमिंग है उस पर थोड़ा ज़्यादा फोकस करो. पेपर 4 और ऐसे को आप स्लोली स्प्रेड करो. स्लोली 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 कीप राइटिंग टिल एग्जामिनेशन. नाउ जब भी आप आंसर लिख रहे हो, फाइन, वट एवर यू आर राइटिंग, यू आइडेंटिफाई द एरियाज, यू आइडेंटिफाई द गैप, you discuss with the mentors, and then you need to take efforts very specifically where you need to improve. तो ये आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा कि इमीडिएटली हम कहाँ इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, हम कहाँ इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से ब्रीफली. आई हैव आस्क्ड, यू कैन से the Bhubaneswar people also, जो जहाँ पे सेंटर है, that to organize answer writing sessions. Fine, you do right, answers भेजो, करेक्ट करेंगे, डिस्कस करेंगे. Fine. Now you please throw questions, more and more questions. चैट बॉक्स में डालो जितने questions डालने हैं. More and more questions you put there. It will make more sense to this session. Rashmi, Nal, Pratik, if you have questions. Saheli, Satabdi has discussed so many times, I think. Rakesh, कोई क्वेश्चन है तुम्हारे पास? If you have questions. Okay, fine. The first question is, the first question you have asked that completing the question after 15 minutes become the big problem. A 15 question becomes the big problem. Yes, this is really a big problem, क्योंकि जब आप लोग पहली मेंस दे रहे हो तो ये थोड़ी प्रॉब्लम है, और आंसर को सस्टेन करना 20 क्वेश्चन तक रियली a big challenge. See, you can complete your paper only on the basis of 2 things, and that is retention and recall. What I will suggest, मैं ये suggest करूँगा अभी. Good, I am very happy now you people are putting questions. जितने क्वेश्चन डालोगे उतना इंट्रैक्शन होगा. Wonderful, and that will help us also, or that will motivate us, क्योंकि ये पूरी सीरीज ही है जो हम लोग उड़ीसा PCS पे कर रहे हैं. And that too when we are in very pain. काफ़ी स्वेलिंग है, काफ़ी दर्द है, लेकिन काफ़ी लोगों ने कहा कि छोड़ दीजिए, मैं बाद में ले लेता हूँ, लेकिन मुझे लगा नहीं, once we have decided, we should do it. Now what I'm trying to say, जिस तरह से तुम्हारी रिटेंशन है उसी तरह से तुम्हारी स्पीड आएगी. You are talking about speed. See, one thing you need to understand about the writing, and that is called mental outline. Mental outline. Mental outline simply means, my dear friends, after reading any question within 30 seconds, you should get the key ideas. Point 1, 2, 3, 4. क्योंकि ये जो mental outline तुम्हारी question पढ़ते ही बनती है, by the time you finish the questions, the way you create your mental outline, and that's the final thing. That's what you write in answers. Number 1. Number 2, please reflect upon the notes. अभी तुम्हारे पास काफ़ी वक्त है कि रिवीजन तो कर ही रहे होगे. रिवीजन करते समय तुम्हें नोट नहीं बनाना है. अगेन आई एम सेइंग यू, इट विल नॉट कंज्यूम योर टाइम. रिवीजन करते समय सिर्फ एक वाइट शीट रखना है और की पॉइंट्स नोट करो. दैट्स इट. वो की पॉइंट ही तुम्हें रिवाइज करनी है यहाँ से एग्जामिनेशन तक, वंस ट्वाइस थ्राइस. जितना वो की पॉइंट्स आप रिवाइज करेंगे उतना ही आप रिटेन करेंगे और उतना ही आंसर लिख सकते हो. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई वुड लाइक टू से, शताब्दी एंड अदर्स, दैट यू नीड टू बी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट इट. बहुत छोटे छोटे स्टेप लेने पड़ेंगे सो दैट यू कैन इम्प्रूव. डोंट टॉक, डोंट डू something very loud, something very lousy which consumes time. No, do what is easy. Do what is easy to execute. It doesn't consume much time. लगातार करते चलें, slow, quick, 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then you are moving. Let me take another question. So another question is so another question one says, sir, I cannot get points while writing or addressing the questions. When I see the answer, I am amazed. I know the point, but I cannot get the time. Oh, no issue for that. Another question is how to write, elucidate, explain. This I call directive words. हर क्वेश्चन में डायरेक्टिव वर्ड्स होते हैं. Give me some time. Fine. I'm going to take a separate session for this because this is something that makes demand of the question very very specific. यही है जो क्वेश्चन का डिमांड स्पेसिफिक बनाता है. अगर वो क्रिटिकली एनालाइज है तो आप एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकते साहब. सो दैट आई विल डू सेपरेट सेशन. मैं कर रहा हूँ सेपरेट सेशन. डोंट वरी फॉर दैट. विल डू इट. Another question, please. Go ahead. Please ask questions. So Rashmi is asking a question that how to put examples, and sometimes it consume a lot of time and she is not able to complete the paper. Rashmi, first of all, you need to understand why examples. Why we write examples? We use examples, data, cases just to serve two purposes. Number 1, to bring clarity in explanation, and number 2, to substantiate your point. So my point is basically that don't bother yourself with the number of examples or data, etc. It should come automatically to support your argument. Don't think it as a separate task or work to bring in the answer. No. It's a part and parcel of your explanation. It should come automatically. You have to just write 4 5 you can say points, even not if a sentence, complete sentence. The only question is if you are not able to recall, then what? We'll discuss it. अभी हम लोग 1 to 1 भी करेंगे इसको. डोंट वरी फॉर दैट. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन प्लीज. Another question is about the underline. See, your worry is not your worry. Basically, it's a peer pressure, social media pressure. Whether you need to underline or doesn't matter. Underline करो नहीं करो, मैंने पहले भी कहा है. What comes before how? What comes before how? So you are going to get edge by the writing what rather than how. Now come to the underline, boxes, diagram, etc. I have a fundamental question, very basic. You have asked about the underlining. Why do you underline? You are underlining just to highlight certain things so that you can grab the eyeball of the examiner. This is why you highlight. Eyeball grab करने के लिए लिखते हो. अब तुम मुझे एक बात बताओ, तुम ऐसा क्या लिख रहे हो जिसमें हर सेंटेंस में या हर पैराग्राफ में तुम्हें आई बॉल ग्रैब करने की जरूरत पड़ रही है? क्या इतनी क्वालिटी है? अगर है, गो अहेड. नहीं है तो जस्ट हाईलाइट पॉइंट्स वेयर यू थिंक दैट यू नीड टू यू कैन से यू नीड टू ग्रैब द आई बॉल ऑफ द एग्जामिनर. दैट्स इट, नथिंग एल्स. इन सब चीज़ों को कभी भी अपने दिमाग के ऊपर हावी मत होने दो. हावी होना चाहिए कंटेंट. स्ट्रक्चर वेरी सिंपल. I can give you n number of examples where if you look at the toppers, their copies are completely different. Completely different. Completely different. So this is what I will answer. तो इस तरह की चीज़ें आप प्रैक्टिस करते रहो, नेचुरल फ्लो में आनी चाहिए. इसको लेकर कभी बॉदर मत हो. Any other question please? Go ahead. Fine. So I think I have taken all the questions. Good. In any case, we are meeting one-to-one also. One-on-one हम लोग कर ही रहे हैं. जहाँ डाउट हो वहाँ पे भी हम लोग बात कर ही रहे हैं. Fine. Test series is already going on for you can say OPSC. So do write, connect with us, and join the entire series. Ethics पे करेंगे, essay पे करेंगे, answer writing पे करेंगे, paper 2 पे करेंगे, current affairs पे करेंगे. So we are going to touch almost all the key concern areas since you people are writing mains for the first time in the Odisha. So don't worry for that. We are always there. Just let us know what you need. Thank you very much. Thank you.